you are going to need to know the sum of the interior angles. It seems like it's been a long time since we did this. Sum of the interior angles of a polygon. Now you're also going to need to know the names of the polygons because I've used those names. You remember that's n minus 2 times 180. And there's key words that you're going to have to read. Sum, interior, key words. Now, how do you find one angle of a regular polygon? What do? What does regular mean? All sides are equal, all angles are congruent. So how do you find one angle? And this should be inside. How do you find one inside? You take the sum of all and do what? Divide by the number of what? Sides or angles. Same thing, correct? Number of sides, number of angles are the same. All right. Then we had the sum of exterior angles, and that is 1 per vertex. What was that? 360. Is there any work to be shown? Sum exterior. Keywords. And this is how we find the number of sides. And there was one relationship that was important. What is the relationship? I'll move this up. What is the relationship between one interior angle and one exterior angle? Remember? Supplementary. So if you have this polygon, this relationship is 180. So if I give you one inside angle, can you give me the outside angle? Yes, no? You need to know these. This is the first part of your test. And what else? All right, how do we find the number of sides? Find number of sides of a regular polygon. How do we do that? Exterior angle times what? Bless you. Times the number of sides, which is same thing as the number of angles, equals 360. And that was 357, number 35. If I give you an interior angle, you guys subtract from 180 to get that exterior angle. Now, that is not on a foldable, what I've written up here. You have a parallelogram foldable. You've got to know that parallelogram foldable. You've got to study your notes on rectangles, rhombuses, squares, and those properties. I guess that's on the foldable, isn't it? All right, so I'm ready to go over any questions you have. We have all period to go over questions. Right, I didn't do a worksheet. It's section or chapter 6 review. Bless you. Chapter 6 review, 1 through 32. And then page, I think it was 357. number 35. Okay, I'll collect that one. Caitlin. Okay, 20. All right, so 20 says, find the values of the variables for which the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. This is an algebra question. Will I give you algebra on the test? You think? Oh, yeah. That's 3y minus 3. This is 3x. This is 4x minus 2. And this is 3y minus 1. All right. So what equations can you set up based on if this were a parallelogram, what would be true? Three y minus 3 is equal to 3x. What else would be true? All right. So we have two equations all filled with variables. How do you solve for x? How do we disconnect 3? Well, but first we got to solve for x. How do you disconnect 3 and x? Divide by. So I have to divide everybody by 3. So you're going to have y minus 1 is equal to x. So Leslie, what are we going to do with this y minus 1? Over. Right. So this becomes 4 times y minus 1 minus 2 equals 3y minus 1. What's the next step in our equation solving, Hope? What are we going to do with that 4? By? Uh-huh. So we're going to have 4y what? Minus 2 equals 3y minus 1. What are we going to do next, Trevor? Yeah, what is that going to be? Good. Minus 6. All right. So Karen, what are you going to do next? So we're going to subtract 3y from 4y. Here?
Yeah.
Why?
The equation is 3y minus y, and when you substitute it, it's 3y minus 1.
We substituted the y minus 1 in for x, not for y. With me? Am I good? Okay. So we've got y minus 6 is equal to negative 1. What do you do next, Brittany C? So y is equal to? We're going to add 6. All right. So Samantha, how are we going to go from there to finding x? Where do you want to substitute it? I'll go up here. That's the easiest. 5 minus 1 equals x. What does x equal? 4. Next question. 21. 21 says, find the measure of the numbered angles in each special parallelogram. All right, so let's first of all try to figure out what kind of parallelogram we have. They've done this. They have told us nothing about the angles. What kind of parallelogram is this? This would be 21. What kind of parallelogram is this? Rhombus. How do you know? What gave it away? All the sides are equal. Why can't we call it a square? There's no guarantee that this is 90 degrees. This could be 90 degrees, and it could be a poorly drawn picture. All right, so they happen to have drawn in the diagonals. Now, what do you know about the diagonals of a rhombus? They are perpendicular. What else do we know about the diagonals of a rhombus? Okay, they do bisect each other, but what else do we know? What else do they bisect? This angle is equal to that angle. This angle is equal to that angle. And why are those equal? Because they're opposite angles of a parallelogram. This angle is equal to this angle. That angle is equal to that angle. So this is all the stuff rhombus should tell you. And when you hear the word rhombus, all of those properties should come to mind. All right, so they told us this is 32. What is this angle right here? 90. How do you get this angle over here? 90 plus 32 is 122. Then what? Minus 122 is going to be 858. So this is 58. So what is this angle? 58. What is this angle? 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 Okay, what is this angle? What is this angle? What is this angle? Okay, I don't know what they asked, but you found them all. They asked for this angle up here. They asked you for this angle over here. And they asked you for this angle right there. Now, would this be a hard problem if you didn't know that the diagonals were perpendicular and that the diagonals bisected opposite angles? Gotta know those properties. You will bond with that foldable tonight. You will know everything on that foldable. All right, next question. 13. I need you did your homework. I'm impressed. All right, 13. Find the measures of the numbered angles. All right, so on 13, they have told us that it's a parallelogram. Can I assume that diagonals are perpendicular if it's a parallelogram? No. So we've got these diagonals. This is a parallelogram, which tells us lots and lots of stuff. I'm thinking that they told us that this is 37, and it looks like they told us this is 63. So we need this angle up here. What is that angle? How did you know that? What kind of angles are these? Alternate interior. The full-blown opposite angle would be all of that with all of that. You with me there? All right, so now let's look at, if this is 63, what's that angle? 63. Oh, this one right here? You all know this. How do I get this angle? Right, they're supplementary. 180 minus 63 is going to be 787. How about 157? If this is 157, can I find that angle right there? No? How do we find that angle? Add them, then what? 157 plus 37 is 14. I messed up then. I messed up here. Oh, thank you, Travis. A little bit of a difference, isn't it? As I say, we're already over 180. All right, 4, 5, I think that's 154. So I'm going to check my math since I'm not real good there today. So what do I do now? So 180 minus 54 is going to be 10, which is 6. 7 subtract 5 is, so this is 26. They want to know this angle up here. How do we get that angle up there? Because look, if we were to trace these, they form a what? A Z. So this is 26. And what else did they want? They wanted 1, 2, 3. We found them all. Okay. Other questions? 15? All right, now on 15, and I do believe I wrote a question like this on your test. Did they give you a picture? Is there a picture? No. So what do you have to draw? And if they talk about A, B, C, D. Uh-huh. Oh, I don't know. What did you ask for? This is 15. Good question. Okay, so first I get my A, B, C, D. Now they're saying AB is 2y. They're telling us BC is y plus 3. They're telling us CD is 5x minus 1. And this is 2x plus 4. All right, so this is a parallelogram. What's one equation you can write? Samantha? Is equal to 2x plus, okay. What's the second equation you can write? Harper?
5x minus 1 is equal to 2.
All right. So, what variable is easy to solve for? Nick? Yeah, this y is easy to solve for. How? Right, we got to disconnect 3, so we're going to subtract. So we have y equals 2x plus 1. Now what are we going to do with this 2x plus 1, Carlin? It's y. Over. Yep. So this is going to be 5x minus 1 equals 2 times 2x plus 1. All right, Kayla E. What do we do next? Okay. Plus. All right. So from here, tell me, what do we do? So we're going to subtract the 4x from the 5x. So we have x minus 1 equals 2. Bree, what do we do next? So x is equal to 3. So we found half our answer. MJ, how do I find y? Is he really that sound asleep? Okay. Becky, how do we find y? So y is going to equal 2 times 3 plus 1, or 7. Next question. 16. So 16 is similar in the fact that they gave you stuff, but they didn't draw you a picture. You will draw a picture. A, B, C, D. This time they're saying AB is 2y plus 1. They're saying BC is y plus 1. CD is 7x minus 3. And DA is 3x. All right, McKenna, give me one equation. Equals? Okay. Give me a second equation, Caitlin. All right, what variable is the easiest to solve for, Eric? In which equation? Good. And how do you do that? So we've got y is equal to 3x minus 1. Your equation solving skills are really good. Leslie, what's next? What do we, yeah, where? Yes, you all have come so far. All right, so this is going to look like 2 times 3x minus 1 plus 1 equals 7x minus 3. Devin, what do you do next? I'll continue.
2x minus 1. I mean 6x minus 1.
Okay, I'm with you.
Equals 7x minus 3. And then subtract 6.
Okay. We find them both. We just found x. We need to find both of them. Travis, how do I get the other one? Okay, I certainly can do that. So we're going to come over here. We're going to plug it right there. And when we plug it in, will we be able to find our y? For sure. So here we go. You've got 2y plus 1 is equal to 7 times 2 minus 3. Bree, what's 7 times 2 minus 3? Okay, then what do we do? Good, and you're going to get 10, so what is y? Right. Okay, next question. 14. Now I gotta go to a new page. They gave you some nice algebra on this assignment. Oh, wow. I guess I need a pen to write 14. All right, what did they give us? Again, they gave us a parallelogram. So what happened to these diagonals? Right, so if this is equal to this, agreed? Now, they told us in this picture that this is equal to that. So what do we know about this segment up here? It's equal, right? They also told us that this is 90 degrees. What is this figure? It is a rhombus. Is it anything else? It is a rectangle. Why is it a rectangle? Okay, this diagonal is congruent to that diagonal because those two tick marks and those two tick marks make them congruent. Is it any other? What's a rhombus with congruent diagonals? It is a square. All right, I don't know if we need that information or not. So they want angle 1, they want angle 2, and they want angle 3, and it's kind of hard to see where an angle 3 is. It must be over here. All right, so this is a square. What do we know about this angle right here? It's 90 degrees, and it is a rhombus, so what did this diagonal do to 90 degrees? Bisected it, so what is this angle? 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 Yeah, there they all are. So the hard part here was identifying it as a what? Square. And to do that, what do you need? You need to know all those properties on that foldable. Next question. 35? That one on page 357? Okay. So we're now jumping to page 357, number 35. You are going to have to find, they told you that find the measure of okay, they gave us an exterior angle. This is 35. The exterior angle is equal to 30 degrees. How do we get an interior angle? Is going to be 180 minus 30 degrees, which is what? All right. Now, how do we find the number of sides? You hopefully took notes this morning. What does it say on your notes? Exterior angle times the number of angles or sides is equal to 360. All right, so how do you solve for n? Divide by 30. And how many times does 30 go into 360? Oh, what's that called, by the way? A dodecagon. Got to know these, because if I ask you to find the sum of the angles of a dodecagon and you don't know how many sides, then you're going to miss it because of vocabulary. The EOC is going to expect you to know these terms. So you definitely have one where you have to find the number of sides, and they didn't give us that in the review. Now, I could have given you an interior angle, at which point you had to find the exterior angle. All right, what's next? 22. 22, let's see, find the measures of the numbered angles in each special parallelogram. So the question here is, what type of parallelogram is this? They have told us that this is 90. If this is, now this is a parallelogram, all right? If this is 90, what must this be? Because opposite side angles of a parallelogram are what? Congruent. What do we know about the angle down here? Same side interior, therefore they are supplementary, therefore this must be what? 90, therefore this is what? Okay, tell me, what kind of figure is this? Okay, we have square and we have rectangle. What are we for sure right now? We're for sure rectangle. So let's look at our picture. Did they mark any sides congruent? I can't find it. No, they did not. So is it a square? No. All right, so they drew in the diagonals. They just love these diagonals, don't they? And what do we know about the diagonals? Nothing. They told us this is angle 2. They told us this is angle 3. This is angle 1, but this is 56. What's angle 1? What's angle 1? 180 minus 56 is going to be 124. So we know this is 124. All right. We need 2 and we need 3. No, because it's not a square. Two plus 3 equals 90. I should say angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 90. That's for sure. But we're stuck in the middle. What do we know about the diagonals of a rectangle? They are congruent. That means this segment from here to here, correct, is congruent to this segment. Do you agree? Okay, what do the diagonals of a parallelogram do? So we know that this segment is equal to this segment. But if the two yellow segments are equal, does it make sense that these are equal to these? So this is the midpoint. And what do we know? What kind of triangle is this green triangle? It's not green. What do we know about, what kind of triangle is this green triangle? Isosceles. So if I let 2 be x, and therefore this is what? X. How do I find x? 2x is plus 124 equals what? I know. I put 125. Why does it equal 180? Because the angles of a triangle add to 180. So now what do? Subtract 124. So you've got 2x equals. So that's 10, that's 7. It looks like it's going to be 56. What is x? 28. Now, if 2 is 28, what's the easy way to find 3? Right. 28 plus measure of angle 3 equals 90. So we're going to say measure of angle 3 is equal to 90 minus 28. 9, 8, 10. How about 62? So that required that you knew the diagonals of a rectangle were congruent. Next question. 29. Ooh, I think you've got 2 of these on your test. So we got a parallelogram. We've got this diagonal, and they have told us that this is equal to this. This angle is equal to that angle. This is 29. Okay, and that is all they've given us. Now, from those 2 equal angles, if I were to trace the sides, what does this tell me? They're alternate interior angles, therefore, what's parallel? The top and the bottom, or the 2 sides? This is parallel to this. Now, can you conclude that the parallelogram is a rhombus, rectangle, or square? All right. So I say they have not given us enough information. They needed to give us more. So is there enough information here to conclude? Do I have opposite, 2 pair? 2 pair opposite angles congruent? Do I? 2 pair? No. Do I have 2 pair of opposite sides? 2 pair opposite sides parallel? I have 1 pair. Is there, just because those are parallel, does that make those parallel? No. You would have had to have been told that this angle here, let me get a different color, this angle here and that angle there were congruent. So I can't conclude parallel. Am I given that these are equal? Is there any tick marks saying those are equal? All right, so I do not have 1 pair parallel and equal. That was another way that we could have proved it. Do we know that the diagonals bisect each other? Do we know that? Have they even drawn in the second diagonal? No. So can we conclude anything about that figure? We can't even conclude it's a parallelogram. And they didn't give you that option, so that was bad. Do you want to talk about 30? Let's look at 30. 30, they have told us that this is a right angle and that this side is congruent to that side. That is what they have told us. So if that's a right angle, we can't say this is 90 because we don't know it's a parallelogram. So what if I were to draw this in? What type of triangle is that? It is isosceles, meaning this angle is what? Congruent to that angle. Oh, just kidding. All right, they did tell us that it's a parallelogram. So I've got to go back up to the top. They did tell us it's given parallelogram. All right, if it's given, it's a parallelogram. What do we know about opposite sides? They are congruent. So darn. This side is congruent to that side. This side's congruent to this side, correct? So if it's a parallelogram, what do we know about opposite angles? Congruent. So if it's a parallelogram, what do we know about consecutive angles? They're congruent. What figure is this? It is a square. So let's go back up here. I've told you that this is a parallelogram, or they've told you that. So if they've told you that this is a parallelogram, is this a rhombus, rectangle, or square? So what do we know? They told us that this is congruent to this. We know that opposite sides are congruent. Now, I can't say that all four sides are congruent, correct? These two angles tell me that these are parallel. Okay, because it's a parallelogram, what do we know about this angle right there and that angle right there? Opposite angles are what? Congruent. If this part is congruent to that part, what must be true about this part? Right, this has got to be congruent to this. So, what did this diagonal do to these angles? So what is this? If it bisected the angles, it's going to be a rhombus, yeah. And it's not, I mean, we don't know that this side's congruent to this side, congruent to that side, congruent to that side, but the diagonal bisected this. Therefore, those two are equal. We don't know that they're 90 degrees, so that kicks out rectangle and square. Next, I think on my test, mine are easier. You've got to know your foldable inside and out. Okay, you've got to know the sum of the angles, the sum of the exterior, the sum of the interior. Any questions? All right, so you've got this to study with for tonight. I will collect it tomorrow when you walk in. You do have a test tomorrow. If you were here Friday and you got something, A42 signed, I would need that today. A43 is due Thursday. So you have homework test night if you haven't already done it.
Right.
Yes. You did the review? That's what you should have done. The one, there was no review worksheet online, so you had to do the review from the book. Might have been Unit 4, but that wasn't our review. Our review was 1 through, the chapter review in Chapter 6, 1 through 32, and then page 357, number 35. Were you here Thursday? Okay, I told you all on Thursday. MJ, we have to have a conversation. Yes.